What up, YouTube, man? It's your boy Banco Boxing. Back with another video, man. If you're on this video, do something for me, man. Hit that bell icon, hit that subscribe button for your boy, man. Share it on your social media. Shout out to everybody who been rocking with me, man. I really see the traction growing. I'm trying to get better and better. You know, y'all give me feedback, whether you hate or like it or say I'm trash. I'm with all of it. I want all the smoke. But anyways, guys, this video I'm kind of responding to a video, well, basically an interview, live interview with KEITH THURMAN. He was on the Boxing Voice today. And, you know, the title of it was basically asking him about reacting to Terrence Crawford, you know, telling TMZ to tell Errol Spence, hey, pull his panties down or whatever, and you know, let's make the fight. Thurman didn't really comment too much on that. He basically said, hey, don't it look a little desperate? And if I want to be honest, yes and no. I think it seemed desperate because it seemed like it's either out of Bud's character to do that, or maybe just finally opening up. It's like, now I got to go Shannon the Cannon on these boys. I want to say desperate because it's like, if somebody got something you feel like belong to yours, you're gonna do whatever. I mean, if somebody has something that you feel like belongs to you, you're gonna do whatever it takes to get it back. That's period, you know. So I can't necessarily say that sounds desperate, but he talked about some interesting things here. They had some interviews. So we all know in 2017, KEITH THURMAN defeated Danny Garcia to be the unified champion, 147 pounds. He took Danny Garcia's WBC strap from him. But after that, you know, he got hurt, and we didn't see KEITH THURMAN again until January of 2019. Well, having said all that, Keith was telling us about the injury. I don't know if I wasn't paying attention enough for me to know which hand it was, but basically talking about by your wrist, the bones and stuff in there, the small bones, like the carpals, metacarpals or something like that. I guess that's what it is, because you do know people get carpal tunnel. I don't know if it's the same thing, but what he's basically saying is it's supposed to be, I think, ligaments or something right there in between that to protect the bone and stuff in the hand from hurting. And he noticed that the bones, I guess, a little bit were like kind of sticking up out of his wrist, and the doctor said what was happening is that, you know, on impact or stuff like that, the bones are rubbing together, causing them pain. And that makes sense because when you watch the KEITH and Manny fight, it seemed like KEITH did an excellent job. If you actually go watch that fight, besides that knockdown, he did a really good job on Manny, but it still felt like something was missing from his punches. And once he, you know, revealed that to us, it make a lot of sense. And now, one thing I won't call a man is a liar. I know people used to say was lying, he wasn't really hurt and all that stuff, but I never believed that to not be true. I always felt like KEITH was a man of his word, because his stance on things never changed. I think they're aiming for the first quarter of 2020. Jesse Vargas not at 147 anymore, but he said Jesse Vargas fight would be good at 147. They were asking questions. I'm trying to think of like a welterweight that might be good. Honestly, I feel like the way Berto is in his career, I feel like Berto could be a tune-up, just because I think age and his body catching up with him as well, because I know they just want to get some rounds in. Not anybody like Lipinets, that's a tough fight. Uke is pretty tough fight. Yeah, I say somebody like Andre Berto. Of course, they asked him about, you know, him and Adrian Broner having a fight, and Keith said, you know, that's an easy fight to make, which it is. If Al ever want to make that, that might be like, I won't say ace in the hole because AB's profile, you know, from the losses and stuff like that, but I mean to say like it's an entertaining bout. Press conference, would be wordy and witty with those two. That's two best trash talkers in the game. Oh, and also Keith said that there's some conflicting stories about Keith supposedly gambling before the fight. Now Floyd, I think AB both said they seen Keith down there, and Keith says, "Hey, I was down there because I was waiting on, I guess, his room to get finished in the hotel." And he also says he couldn't even really gamble anyway because AB and whoever else was talking his ear off. So, he was like, whatever. And he says AB also was, basically doing all that. He got cooked. All that. He was doing that just for fun. And, but yeah, I think keeping the AB fight would be fun, be very interesting. Then they asked him what was his thoughts on the Errol Spence and Shawn Porter fight. He had it scored at first, and then he was saying, I think he said he stopped scoring at a certain point of the bout. And he said, I think at that time he might have had it for Shawn. And they brought up the low blows. He was like, yeah, man, he saw low blows from Errol from round one. And, it was just ironic because Errol was the main one saying that Shawn was a dirty fighter. Oh man, excuse me. But as we see, it was a lot of low blows in that fight. Keith said personally, hey, if it happens to me, I'm gonna do, and this is what a lot of old school boxers do. Bernard Hopkins, and Andre Ward, Roy Jones, they always talk about do it. If you see the ref ain't doing nothing about the low blows, give one back. That's gonna make them stop. But most people that are body punchers, they always struggle with giving low blows. Cotto used to get it a lot. See Errol Spence. I'm trying to think of another good body puncher. Of course, they try to say about Andre Ward, but also depends on where someone's belt line is too, why the ref won't call it. So it just depends. They asked him about fighting Errol. That fight's still a possibility. Me personally, if Keith is 100%, I think he beats Errol. I know everybody's saying, hey, what it is, but Keith would fight Errol a different way than he fought Manny. Movement. He'll use a lot of his movement. Keith can box on his legs all 12 rounds. The only thing is if he got caught with a body shot. But at the same time, I can't necessarily say that Errol was just a body snatcher like that, because he ain't snatched Shawn Porter body like that. So I think it'd be pretty interesting fight. Keith is adamant on running his fade back with Manny Pacquiao. I don't know if that's gonna happen. I don't think Manny would actually want to go through that fight again. That was a rough fight for Manny. Let's ask some other stuff about they basically just can't wait to see him in the ring again. I would also love to see a Keith and Bud fight, but I wouldn't want to see it before Bud fought Errol. Hopefully they fight. PBC said they want to make the fight eventually, but I don't know if Errol ever get that third strap on Manny. That's just me. We know how Manny can be. He can decide to fight who he finna fight and then just have him retire. But basically, that's what my reaction is to the Keith Thurman interview on the Boxing Voice. Short, sweet. He didn't really do too much. He wasn't really entertaining anything that necessarily wasn't, pertaining to him. But I'll make sure I put the what's the thing called? I'm sorry, man. I've been up a long time, y'all. So excuse me. But I'll make sure I put the interview, the YouTube video interview link in my description so you guys can check it out for yourself. But y'all know what it is, man. Banco Boxing, man. Hate, comment, like, subscribe, share it on your social media. And that CJ Goodfellow will say one time for the one time, and I'm out.